the year the Millennium Development Goals expire and the Sustainable Development Goals are launched. Our task: poverty eradication. Our means include the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, a great diversity of stakeholders coming together to achieve maximum quality and impact. The year the Millennium Development Goals expire and the Sustainable Development Goals are launched. Our task: poverty eradication. Our means include the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, a great diversity of stakeholders coming together to achieve maximum quality and impact in development cooperation for the people and the planet. With this in mind, on April 15th and 16th, 2014, we reaffirmed our commitment to development effectiveness at the first high-level meeting of the partnership, held in Mexico with over 1,700 delegates from 152 countries. Ministers, the private sector, civil society, foundations, international organizations, parliamentarians, development banks, local governments, those who provide cooperation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to welcome you all to our session on Sustainable Development Goals, and I would like to thank our distinguished panelists for participating in this important side event. So as the tradition of the IDB, we would like to start with a recital of the Holy Quran. Please, can you come here?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون. نزلا من غفور رحيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين. صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So the Forum on Implementing the Sustainable Development Goals in IDB member countries we will be implementing this session firstly by giving our distinguished panelists 5 to 7 minutes for their initial remarks, and then we will be having an interactive question and answer session first in the panel, and then we will open the floor for questions. So of course, 2015 was a historical year. So we had very significant agreements on the global development agenda. In July 2015, we had the Addis Ababa Action Agenda adopted in Ethiopia during the Financing for Development Conference. In September 2015, all countries adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in New York. And finally, in December, Paris Agreement on Climate Change has been secured. So we have a very ambitious agenda in front of us. So this will require, of course, a lot of work for the countries, for the international organizations, for civil societies, and so on. So without further ado, I would like to first invite His Excellency Dr. Sofyan Jalil. He is the Minister of National Development Planning, BAPENAS. Minister Jalil serves as the Minister of National Development Planning and Head of National Development Planning Agency, BAPENAS, since August 2015. Previously, he was Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs under the same cabinet since October 2014. Before joining the cabinet, Dr. Jalil was advisor to the Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia, particularly to help facilitating and debottlenecking infrastructure development, education, bureaucracy reform, poverty alleviation, and other strategic issues. His Excellency received his law degree from the University of Indonesia, an MA degree in public policy, and a PhD degree also from Tufts University. Your Excellency, we invite you for your initial remarks. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for a very generous introduction. I think I'm going to share about how Indonesia plan to implement SDGs goal by, as you know, previously Indonesia has successfully, actually to some degree, actually by most measures, we implemented MDGs, and now we are very serious to implement and localizing the SDGs goal in our development agenda. We can approach this through, our development program. Why since 2017 we approach a development program with a comprehensive, thematic, holistic, inclusive, and through partnership. Next. Okay, next. You see here, Indonesia is ready to implement this and share the same vision. Actually, without SDGs, actually this goal is part of our development scenario or development objective. We can approach this with a comprehensive approach. This is a certain goal, cannot be approached only from certain sector, but you have to approach it comprehensively. So social, economic, and governance, and then Indonesian development plan. We include social dimension, economic sector dimension, inequality, equality across income group and region. And then thematic, we put 17 goals, and then we put this as part of development theme. In our concept, we call it, we mainstream all the goals in our development program. And then we approach it holistic. Each national priority supported by other sectors as well. So for instance, later on I will show you how we approach it. And then inclusive, of course, as the goal of SDGs, no one left behind. Therefore, no sector left behind. no part of Indonesia left behind. That's why we try to implement this through inclusive manner. And then partnership, of course, we're going to bring in multi-stakeholder, government, private sectors, CSO, universities, and benefactor, all other who have interest on this, and this goal, implementing this goal. Next. And then you see, we see from goal of SDGs and then how we incorporate in our national priority. No poverty, we approach it through poverty reduction and sustainable livelihood, welfare improvement for marginal community in isolated area, in small island, in borders, disadvantaged area, small outer island with very specific approach, because as you know, geographically Indonesia spread, from the east to west is very far, 6-7 hours flight from the west part of Indonesia to the east part of Indonesia, consists of 17,000 islands, and therefore we have to have a very, specific approach on this. And then the second goal is zero hunger. We have a very ambitious program to achieve what you call it food security. Even in Bahasa, we try to introduce what you call it food sovereignty, even though food sovereignty, of course, we cannot have food sovereign with international, with a global world today. But food security is the main objective. If we can produce main staple food, domestically, that is the most important, one of the most important things. And then good health and well-being. We have a program on Healthy Indonesia, and since 2 years ago, last year, we introduced what I call universal coverage for health. Right now, 90 million Indonesians actually cover their insurance premium by the government. The poor, 40% of the poor in Indonesia is covered, their health insurance by government through like, Medicare in America or like Obamacare. That is, of course, we still keep improving that system. Hopefully, within next 2-3 years, all Indonesians will be covered for the insurance. Some is paid by government, but for those who are able to pay, they will pay by themselves. And then quality of education. Our constitution is mandated 20% of our budget should be allocated for education purpose. And right now we introduce what we call Indonesian Smart Program. All school we provide operational fund for school operational, and then the poor kid will get subsidy with direct transfer to the individual kid student account. That's to support their education. And then gender equality, protect for the child, women, and marginal group. We already mainstreamed the gender equality in our program, and so far we don't have any problem anymore. The participation of women and other marginal group actually is well represented both in politics and also in bureaucracy. And then clean and water and sanitation. This year we're going to introduce kind of presidential instruction, INPRES, it call it in Bahasa. We're going to focus more on water and sanitation. Hopefully, within next, until 2019, our objective to cover water and sanitation all over Indonesia, 100% covered. Actually, that's the objective. And then affordable and clean energy. Of course, right now we still rely too much on what you call non-renewable energy. But our law mandated us to achieve 23% by 2020. Now our energy should come from renewable energy. And then decent work and economic growth, but of course sustained economic growth, which right now our economic growth is only 4.8 last year, and this year we expect we can grow up to 5.3, and then by improving economic growth, we hope we can bring and give more decent work to our people. And then industry innovation, we try to introduce what we call national connectivity for balanced growth. You know. In the past, our development paradigm is too centralistic in the island of Java, what we call it Java-centric. From this government, we start to introduce the term, what we call it, Indonesia-centric, so that the approach of development should be balanced all over Indonesia. And then reduce inequality, development of outer island. We have a lot of border, and in the past we didn't pay much attention on that. Now we develop the outer island, the borders, development of disadvantaged region, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia, is it lag behind, reducing the regional disparity. And then also we start this year, we introduced what you call village fund. We have 74,000 villages in Indonesia. We provide them, for this year, equal to about $80,000 per village. The money directly channeled to the village, and that money can be used by the village actually to achieve their own SDGs. And then responsible sustainable city and communities. We have a housing program this year. We're going to provide up to 4 million housing. How much? Housing objective? 1 million? 4 million house, especially for those who need it most. And rural-urban development, responsible consumption and production. In short, all the program, SDGs objective, goal, we incorporate, we mainstream in our development program. And then, right now we are issuing, in the process to issue presidential decree to give the basis so that all institutions in Indonesia to participate to support this SDGs program, both at central government level, all agencies in central government, as well as local government, including village. Next. This is the legacy basis I told you. Then coordinating team is, we have a coordinating team, and with synergy, communication, capacity building, monitoring and report, so that all the objectives hopefully can be measure how it's objective, how it's achieved. And then of course, even though whatever we plan, we need kind of flexibility. We review year by year whatever has been achieved and what needs to be adjusted, we will adjust it. And then, as I told you before, next, the approach is holistic, thematic, integrative, spatial. Spatial. Why spatial? This is very important. With the IT development, with what you call satellite help, we can now achieve a lot of our economic development. Through we can observe, we can watch. With one map policy, for instance. Right now, the government is very serious to issue one map policy, so that all over Indonesia, can be seen through that special map. And next, this is the way how we approach it, holistic or comprehensive. For instance, food security, that is the objective, what do you call it, national priority, to achieve food security. This food security as a national program, we approach through 4 different sub-programs. First is actually improving food standard, increasing consumption, quality of food and nutrition. And then we see here how many ministries involved. All ministries, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Marine and Fishery, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Social Affairs, Ministry of Industry, and other ministries actually will work together and will allocate budget to achieve that objective. And then the second is increasing food productivity and food production. For instance, we have an objective to open a new rice field, 1 million hectares new rice field. And that, we allocate budget through Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Public Work. Why we have to approach in different ministries, for instance? Because, if we approach through sectoral minister, maybe from sectoral perspective it's good enough. But for national objective, that's not good enough. For instance, If we approach only from sectoral approach, from